Yo! What's up, you squirrely boys? Hey, so I want to talk about education today and about, geniuses and brilliance and passion and desire and how it seems that some people just get everything they want in life and others not so much. Like how does somebody become like Mark Zuckerberg? How do they become like a Bill Gates or an Elon Musk or like a Joe Biden or a Trump? Like all these super elite, very high firepower individuals. Like did they just get lucky? Did they just have some divine like intervention come down and be like, hey, by the way, this is what you're going to do with your life at a young age, so they just always knew? It's a good question. For a lot of them, it's probably based off nurture. Some of it's nature, depending on your parents. That's the nature aspect. Like you'll get some really good genes. Like myself, for example, I'm humble, but I'm still aware like I was given some great genes from my parents, right? Other than that though, you have to look at the nurture side where you're like, okay, so once you have those genes, how are they nurtured? How are you trained? What do you do with your life growing up to increase your skills? What are you trying? Are you trying new things, or are you just doing the same thing over and over again? And the reason I want to talk about this is because when I was at the gym, I was talking with, two of my younger little mentees. Both of them are lifeguards. One of them has their own business, and he's absolutely crushing it. He sells these bait lures. They're like probably this long minimum, couple inches, probably like 4 inches or so, and they get bigger. So he scales them up, I think he scales them down as well, and sells them all over. Right? He's killing it. And the other guy was asking, he's like, oh man, you're so lucky. You found your thing right off the bat. That's incredible. And what I want to bring up is that yes, he got lucky in that he loved fishing and that's how he can create a business and that's his true passion in life. But what's scary for me is that most of these children, most of the people today, never know what they truly want to do because of the way our education system's set up. It's because of the way that we actually raise our kids. Even when I was a young kid, no one ever asked me, really, like, what do you want to do? What are your interests? What are your potential passions that you want to try? When I was young, I always wanted to try and play instruments, but like I didn't know which one, but I was like, oh, okay, maybe I'll try it. But it's good to try it to see if that's your thing. But when you look at a system that's set up in such a way where it's like, hey, you either are going to like math, English, science, history, right? The basic core curriculum. And then everyone learns the exact same thing within that core curriculum. Like there's no options. There's no other paths. It's just one path. And the path is well laid. I mean, fuck, this path it's like a highway at this point. The amount of people on this path. It's just one singular road. There's 4 fucking lanes on this bitch. Like, what are we doing here? I think the beauty in life and when people find the most fulfillment in their life is when they can find that true desire, that true passion. But that true desire and true passion is not down that 4-lane highway, which that's what the schooling system will get you. And I'm a victim of the same thing. All right, that's why I can talk about this. All right, I grew up thinking, all right, well, I can only be X, Y, or Z. They have to be these, what it is, the 6-figure positions where you have to go off, get a degree. Usually there's some other type of certification, whether it's like a CPA, CFA, a doctor, like an MD, something like that. And you're fed this lie like, oh yeah, if you don't do that, you're a loser. When in actuality, like some of the coolest people I've ever met are not those roles. Like they're not the CFOs and the CEOs and all these business positions and all the higher level managers. Usually it's somebody that's just like, hey man, so I'm really interested in whittling wood and I do it in my garage and then I sell it online. And here, take a look. And they show me pictures, and it's just fucking amazing. It's like, it's so skilled and so talented. And so I genuinely believe everyone is a genius. Everyone is brilliant. It's just our education system is so bad. It's set up in such a way that no one discovers what their passion is. Oh my God. It's almost like it's set up on purpose that way. Just saying. Just maybe a little bit. Maybe just a tad, guys. Because, I mean, think about it. And I'm going to throw it back. A very loose, guys. So don't look at this video and be like, oh, well, you misquoted somebody or you didn't get the... Shut the fuck up. No one cares. All right? So back in the day, Rockefeller, he's the one that... He gave a lot of money to higher education, okay? If you don't know who John D. Rockefeller is, look into antitrust laws, look into early oil, look into the explosion of industrialization. All right? He was here. He was there. All right? Same with J.P. Morgan. Same with the Carnegie, right? The big boys back then. Okay? The big issue when you get into these giant logistical companies, these giant industrial companies, they need factory workers. Okay? He had a lot of money. He gave a lot of money to schools to educate people. And so this is where I'm going to say this is a paraphrase. Okay? This is a paraphrase. He basically said, I want people smart enough to do what they're told, but not to do their own thing. That is a paraphrase. Okay? Essentially, he wants people to just be factory workers, but not to be able to be smart enough to run their own factory. He doesn't want people to discover their own secret sauce that's trapped up here. And more importantly, it's trapped in here. It's trapped in their heart. It's trapped in their fucking soul. He didn't want people to discover that because he's like, yo, if all you motherfuckers discover that, there's less workers, which means I have to pay my workers more, and there's less available of you, which means my production goes down, which means cost output goes up. So like it for a business, it's terrible. He needs factory workers. They need you guys, okay? So please understand that this system is set up in such a way to benefit the elites, and they will absolutely gaslight you into oblivion saying, oh yeah, school's important and university higher education is important, which it is. Don't get me wrong. It absolutely is. If you're using it for your purpose, for your passion. I do not agree anymore with the idea of going off to school just to get a fucking degree. Just to get a degree. I mean, dude, like when I went off for bio-pre-med, changed within a first month, okay? I should have probably left school entirely to just look at my life and be like, all right. So I thought I wanted to be an anesthesiologist, but that fucking didn't go out. So what am I doing? Instead, it's just kind of like you just endlessly cope. And how many people do we know that do this? And then what do? The whole point of college is to just get good grades, so then your resume looks nice just to get a job, right? Just then to work for however many years, 50 years. Because by the time you start working, believe me, by the time you all start retiring, if you're below 30, you're probably going to have to work till 75. That's the plan that they want. They want to extend the working age. They want to extend the amount of time the worker bees have to stay in the hive, and serve the queen. And then you finally get to retire for, a couple of years before all the yellow dye and the red 40 and all that other bullshit kills you, or like the Costco Premium Plus COVID 69 version, that comes around and that kills us. So I mean, like that's the plan. So getting back to the original point, everyone's a fucking genius. We just need to figure out what our passion is. My recommendation is, if you ask yourself enough, if you genuinely ask yourself, like close your eyes and just keep saying to yourself, how can I be best of service to humanity? How can I be best of service? And genuinely ask yourself, have a conversation with God, have an open dialogue, and ask him, be like, hey man, I surrender. I have no fucking idea what I want to do. I don't know what my purpose is for being here. Can you help me out? Maybe give me some visions. Can I see some things? Okay? And just start trying new hobbies, new interests, even things from when you were a little kid that, you know, maybe it was one of those things where you didn't try it because your friends at the time said it was gay. All right? I'm going to be very honest. All right? This is YouTube, so I can do whatever the fuck I want. Okay? We as men understand as a young boy that the creative arts, a lot of the more feminine side, right? Because there's masculine and there's feminine activities, typically. But creativity goes with femininity, all right? So a man that's deeply in his feminine is somebody who's much more artistic. They're much more creative. It doesn't mean that they're gay, but as a young kid, that was what we used to tell each other. We're like, oh, that's gay. Like art, that's gay. Like, you like painting? Oh, pink, ew. So, like, we need to change how our brains work, how we think about things, and just, if you want to try something, just try something. If you can see yourself doing something, like genuinely see yourself, I'm not kidding. If you watch this video and you're that type of person that strums an air guitar every fucking day in front of a mirror, and you just have dreams and you visualize yourself on stage, join a fucking band. I promise you, you are meant to be on a stage. There is a reason you are seeing those images. This is the sauce that they did not tell you. This is the great lie, that the visions that you have, your imagination is the truth. And that when we're asleep, that's when we're actually awake. You have to be asleep to live in America. You have to. That's the only way. You have to be asleep. Because that's the only way you could possibly experience the American dream. You would have to be asleep. So, guys, figure out what that is. Whatever that itch is. You know, I have my certain itches. You know, my friends have different itches. Everyone's different. Everyone's unique. Everyone has a beautiful gift that they can give to the world. And no one knows what everyone else's gift is. But it's really cool when you start to piece it together and you start to see how everyone's personalities kind of form it. You're like, oh, you know what? That makes sense. Yeah, they weren't meant to be a logistics manager. You know, that they're meant to do that. Yeah, they're good for, like, you know, they're like a celebrity. Right? I hate giving examples when I do videos because, like, I think immediately of my friends, but then I'm like, I don't know if they'd want me saying all this stuff. But then again, I tell them not to watch this shit anyway because I swear a lot. No, JK. That's like their favorite part about my personality is that I'm just rambunctious and kind of wild. But yeah. Other than that, I mean, I think I covered it, what I wanted to cover in the video. It's just that you're so much more brilliant than you've been telling yourself. And I want you to tell yourself that. Do me a favor and just start repeating some positive affirmations about yourself, about your passion. You know, I am finding my passion. I am. It's a great statement. It's a powerful statement. It's a declarative statement. You know, throw that bad boy out there consistently with positive affirmations. All right. Let's start working towards changing our lives. Let's start working towards finding our passion. Because, guys, I don't know if you've noticed with all the outages and other things, this is a very ritualized month. I'm not sure exactly what they have planned for us, but things are going to get very spicy. So I think this is a high time for some self-reflection. You know, if the lights were to go off, what are you going to do with your life? What are you going to do with your time? If you don't have any electricity at all for a couple days, who would you be? Who would you want to be? You know, how can you be of best service? All right, start asking yourself those questions, guys. Love you. Be good. Hug a fucking tree. Do your grounding. Exercise. You know the deal. We are here to serve the light. So go and be a light. All right? Darkness can't exist where you are. All right? Spread yourself around there.